going on, guys? Jack here and welcome back to a new video. Today we're going to be looking at the new icon swaps that we have in FIFA 20 Ultimate Team. Something we've all been looking for, especially the FUT community, because it's such a big part of the game last year with the FUT swaps, except they're changing it now to icon swaps. Let's have a look at what they are. I'm going to go through it and show you which ones I think are the best ones to choose and why. So as you're greeted going into Ultimate Team, you can see icon swaps number 1, and we have until, well, today, which is October the 11th, up until the end of December pretty much, to get all of these tokens. 12 player tokens are withheld for now, so you can only get a 12 or 13. I think it's 13. So if you go to the season objectives now, you have a section called icon swaps online, icon swaps single player, and icon swaps progress. That was a confusing bit for me. So we have 2 challenges for here just to unlock one of the cards, but all of these others, you unlock 1 card for each challenge you do. So there's 12 challenges, well, 12 cards to get, but there's 13 challenges in total. Now before we get into the video, guys, make sure you drop a like on the video, make sure you subscribe. I'm going to go through the best ways to complete these challenges in another video, but let's start off first of all by looking at the challenges and seeing how hard or how easy they are. So win 9 FUT Champions matches. I think everyone's going to complete that one. Maybe not this weekend if you've played a lot of your games already. Win 3 rivals matches using a full squad of only goal players, including the bench, with a max overall squad rating of 83. This should be quite easy. You should be able to get an 84 and 85 rated squad overall, and then put really low rated golds on the bench, and that should bring it down to 83 overall. That one will be quite fun, and it should actually lower the degree of how difficult rivals is in your current division by having all of these challenges here. Win 3 rivals matches using 7 first owner Premier League players in your starting squad. That one could be difficult. It really depends if you've got obviously some first owner cards at the moment. What I recommend doing with because of all of this in the future is when you get your rivals rewards, go for the untradables, because obviously you get double the packs and you get more chance of getting a first owner player. And the same for League 1, Serie A, La Liga and Bundesliga. So I think I'll probably be able to complete at least 2 or 3 out of all of these, maybe not all of the league, but you don't need to complete every challenge to unlock an icon, and we will get to that stage in a second. Icon swaps single player. So the first one, win 6 squad battles matches on minimum world-class difficulty using a full squad of only goal players, including the bench, with a max overall squad rating of 83. So you could use exactly the same team that you've used to complete the first challenge with rivals, with a max overall squad rating of 83. That would be like a 2 birds 1 stone, so you don't need to build 2 separate squads at different times. Make sure you get these 2 done at the same time. MLS, win 5 squad battles matches on minimum world-class difficulty using 11 MLS players. This has probably made any MLS players in your club go up, so check your club right now. They probably do sell for quite a bit, especially as they don't need to be first owner, they're getting bought off the market. Same for Eredivisie and same for the Chinese Super League. So people will be buying teams right now in a hurry, so make sure you list your players if they're going for quite a good price than they're used to going for. And then finally, icon swaps progress. So score 20 with first owner players in rivals, and play 20 matches in FUT using at least 1 first owner player in your starting squad. This one should be quite simple. I myself already use Douglas Costa. He's like the only one that's actually usable for me that's actually first owner, so I eventually will be able to unlock these without even trying. So that's like a passive objective that I don't need to focus on. From what I know, most of us do have a player in our club that we got in a pack and we're still using, so that should be one that everyone completes pretty simply. But let's get to the main part of the video. So now we have icon swaps as a tab, and we start off with Peter Schmeichel, and you only need 6 icon swaps for him. And my opinion on this is you shouldn't be aiming for a Schmeichel, because first of all, he's only an 86 overall, and you can get goalkeepers for like what, 10 to 20,000 coins right now, and he'll be cheaper. They will be cheaper in a couple of weeks' time. So he's not really a player that you should be working towards. Although if you do run out of time to get someone else, then you can always use the last 6 icon swaps to get him if you really need to. So it starts with 6, but you can actually earn up to 24 tokens. So technically you could actually unlock 3 icons for free by doing all of these challenges, because Peter Schmeichel's 6, JJ Kocher is 8, and Pep Guardiola is 8, as you can see. So that's a total of 22. You don't even need to complete all of the challenges to get them, although I would advise focusing more of your tokens on 1 player, as it's going to make a bigger difference and it's going to last longer in your team. But second to that is going to be JJ Kocher. So let's have a look at his in-game stats and what I think of him. I think he's well priced. Again, it's a player that you shouldn't really be aiming for, but a player that you could, you know, start a game with and put, you know, maybe tie up your team for chemistry. He does have 5-star skills, but his in-game stat, he's a very good dribbler. I've used him quite a lot in draft, so I know that he feels good on the ball, but again, it's not someone you should be aiming for typically. And then Pep Guardiola, and this is a player that I think people might breeze over and think, you know what, that's not a very good card, because he's only 85 rated overall. I think it's probably the lowest rated out of all of these. But if you actually go into his in-game stats right here, so on his card stat says 85 defending, but he has 86 interceptions, 89 defensive awareness, and that is what the AI does. And we all know that AI is quite overpowered this year, and if you stick a shadow on him, he's probably going to be locked out to the high 90s there, and he's going to have in the middle of 80s pace. His strength isn't going to be amazing, his stamina is not actually amazing, so as a CDM, he's not going to be, you know, an end game player. But if you do have, as I said, leftover tokens, or you don't get to play FIFA as much as you like over the next couple of months, this is a solid card that you should be considering over the original two that I just showed you. I think a Guardiola over a Kocha or Schmeichel was a better choice. It really depends. Maybe you have a first owner CDM or a couple of players CDM that you prefer over Guardiola, but I think he's a solid player actually, especially with short passing and vision's quite high for the passing stats too. Now for Ryan Giggs, we actually step up to 9 icon tokens, and I think Giggs again is someone that you just don't want to focus on. He's not an end game player at all. His card looks decent, but whenever I've played with him in draft, he's not that great. I've got to be honest with you, and I think his card looks better than he is, whereas someone like Guardiola probably plays better than he looks. I haven't actually used Guardiola, but I know by looking at his in-game stats that he will be pretty good. Again, stamina is just not good enough to last for, let's say, past team of the year. At 81 stamina on a player is not good enough, especially for a player that's going to be on the wing, and if you play on comeback on defense, then they're going to be doing a lot of running, and the nationality, of course, isn't going to get you any strong links. It's only going to get you just normal soft links, basically. But Alessandro Nesta is someone I think over the two, over Giggs and Nesta, I think I'd prefer to have Nesta. So he's got 70 pace, it's just on the verge of being usable, especially at the start of the game. I think that's absolutely fine. Maybe in a month or two, when people's attack gets a lot faster and a lot better, he might not be usable. I wouldn't worry about the 68 stamina, because as a centre back you shouldn't be running out of stamina at all. I think perhaps a shadow would be best because he needs the extra pace, although his defending stats are super high, and if you just let the AI do what he needs to do, he should be solid, although you've got to be careful of him being outpaced. The good thing is he has the pace more in acceleration, which I think will make him feel a little bit better, although he's got really poor agility and not very good balance. So again, I've not used this player, but I'd still go for this player over Giggs, as I think I'd start him more and he would last longer in my team and probably other people's as well. Now if we step up to 11 icon swaps, we have Roberto Carlos, and again a player that I think last year people would definitely not put in their endgame team. I think it's a player that is super fun to use, but one that you wouldn't think, yeah, let me put him in my team for champs. But I think this year, now that crossing isn't really a tactic people use, especially not at a good level anyway, people might still cross it, but they haven't adjusted yet to the meta. I think he would be very good, especially if you're someone that plays like a forward-back formation, and if you're losing, you go to a 3-5-2. Him moving up into the left wing or left mid position, sorry, he would be a very versatile player, and he could literally play anywhere. He could play CDM or left mid, wherever you'd want. And his stats are amazing. For an 86, his stats are incredible. And of course, he has insane shooting stats, especially long shots. If you can actually play quite aggressive custom tactics, maybe even just a 4-1-2-1-2 narrow, allowing your left backs to overlap and get him, or even just get through, him on the edge of the box would be deadly. Of course, he's super fast. He's actually pretty strong for a little guy, and his defending stats are still very solid. But again, I don't think you need particularly high defensive stats on a left back or right back. I've seen people using quite small players on this game and it not really affect them too much when it comes to those kind of one-on-one duels, it seems. So I think he would be a good shout for 11 cards. Hernan Crespo, and this is obviously going to be the baby one, so 12 icons, one more than Roberto Carlos. His card is now stepping up to the range where you won't be able to really get him and another player if you're a casual player. So if you're a casual player, this might be maybe around the range that you can go for, because you won't be able to complete all the challenges. But I think based on the meta this year that he won't be as good as he looks. I mean, he looks good because he's an icon, but he literally is just an 85 rated player here. Like, there's nothing really that stands out to me. His stamina's not particularly good, especially as you'd expect him to stay in your team for at least 2 or 3 months. I think there'll be many strikers that you could find under like 50k in 2 or 3 months time that would just outclass Crespo. So agility 88. What's his height? His height is 6 foot. That's not too bad. Agility and balance isn't bad considering his height. Decent finishing. I mean, it's a tough one. This is where it starts to get tough and it doesn't really shine out to me. Something I don't like is his work rate. So maybe he'd be a better cam, but then his passing's not good. So that's what I mean about him. He's kind of drifting in there. He's not cheap, but he's not really an end game player. So I don't know. I'll try and stay away from Crespo unless you literally only have 12 tokens. And what I mean by that is I wouldn't like come down for a Crespo so you can get another icon. Like if you're going to get one, make sure it's better than Crespo. And that goes pretty much for Patrick Kluivert as well. I think out of the two, both being 4-star, 4-star, Kluivert as 6'2". In FIFA 19, I'd say go for Kluivert. Actually, because obviously he's got the potential to be heading. Although Crespo was good in the air, I think Kluivert would have been better. But I think this FIFA, out of the two, and stamina's a little bit lower, yeah, I think I'd go for Crespo over Kluivert, and I think that as well because you can tie in Messi a lot easier, being the Argentinian link there. Obviously, I'm thinking about the future. In 2 or 3 months' time, I think even standard players have a chance at getting players like Messi in if they get a good pack or good rivals rewards or FUT Champions rewards. So that's something to consider, nationality as well, because they are icons, they do link with everyone, but obviously you get strong links as well. Now Miroslav Klose is just a big no-no for me. His only way of scoring really would be, well, not his only way, but he excels massively in heading and being an aerial threat, and it's just not something you do in this game. Although his shooting would be good, I think he would be a little bit stiff, and the fact that he only has 3-star skills, it's a downside, isn't it? And he does have 4-star weak foot, so he'd kind of be like the same kind of level of finishing as someone like probably a Lewandowski, but at the same time he doesn't have the skill moves. He's not very quick, he's kind of sitting in the middle, his stamina's not great, jumping is amazing, his strength's good, but I think now we're up at this token level, I just think that Miroslav Klose would not be worth it. Now Michael Ballack is interesting. This is obviously the baby. So I think from last year, the thing I noticed between the Ballacks was the baby one was just he wouldn't be able to do like an end-to-end game because again the stamina, the CDMs do a lot of work. 79's not gonna be good, but he does have 4-star, 4-star, he's 6'2", he is solid defensively, but the thing is he can go forward, so he's not just someone who's going to sit back. You could play him centre mid as well. His acceleration isn't great. Obviously his mid and prime are a lot better when it comes to the pace and stuff like that, but this is someone I'll definitely go over Miroslav Klose. Obviously, he has 2 more tokens, but he is miles better than Klose. So if you are on 12 tokens, try to get 2 more to get Ballack, because I think he would be a much better starter and he would last in your squad a lot longer than a Klose would. Now we get to Pirlo, and now it's getting tricky because I've used this player and I love this player. Played a lot of games with him in FUT Champions, but did I say FUT Champions? I meant FUT Draft. So Pirlo, I have used him a lot, but not this version of his card. And his other version of this card had 75 pace, which is just about doable, especially if you have the right chemistry style in him. He's got amazing dribbling, amazing passing. He can play centre mid really, really well, but he can't really play CDM. His stamina's 77. And I always look at stamina because that's what, as you get towards the mid stage of the game, that's where you find that you need to be able to keep up with other people with custom tactics and stamina. Like pressure on heavy touch and constant pressure, that really drains your stamina, and sometimes you have to do that if you're 1 goal down, you've got 10 minutes left. So these are things to consider. Would I go for him? For 14, I would probably, it really depends on your formation, but I think most people, especially if you're playing in FUT Champs, you probably have a formation with a CDM. I think Ballack would be the better option to go with out of Pirlo and Ballack, but if you're someone that's playing more for fun, you have a lot of coins and you like Pirlo a lot and you like doing skill moves, then Pirlo would be the better option. So it's really a hard one to choose there. And then there's Roy Keane, who's actually 1 more above Ballack and Pirlo, and I actually used this card. I did his SBC last year and he was amazing last year, even considering he's not particularly tall, like, you know, for a CDM. He's 5'11", he's got high strength, high stamina, so as a CDM, this guy, I would actually choose Keane over Ballack. I stand by it because it's the baby Ballack. Obviously a mid Ballack would be better than Roy Keane, but a baby Ballack, I would choose I'd choose Keane over Ballack every single day. His dribbling and passing was actually like just his composure on the ball. And I remember last year thinking like, every time I got the ball, it was like a magnet to his feet, and he just passed it off with like very simple composure. And I think that would be a very good attribute to have this year. If we have a look, what's his composure? 92. So I wasn't lying. 92 reactions. These are key things that will stop you going in for a tackle and then you get the ball straight away because you've got the reaction to get the ball when it actually does something weird. You know, it happens a lot this year. You'll tackle someone and the ball kind of like sprays out, and it is bad game mechanics, but at the end of the day, there are things in the game that will make players better at stopping that. Long passing and short passing is great. His vision's great, so his passing is literally all you need from a CDM is on this card, and that's what I'm trying to say. So I think, yeah, he if I had 15 tokens, I'd probably be going for him out of everyone so far. If you're going for like the serious route, if you're going for fun, it'd be Pirlo. And then we step up to Rivaldo, and I've got to say, guys, again, unless you're going to pick a player for fun, I wouldn't go near this guy, just simply because he has 2-star weak foot, and people know that, and they will play to that disadvantage, and they will put you in situations where you can't use that left foot. Like, they will just cover the left foot all the time. So like, I think from a foot champion standpoint, don't be picking Rivaldo. But again, if you like doing the skill moves, like he's got 4-star skills, and he's got some good stats, but he's just so left foot dominant. He does come. He's obviously a good nationality, so he's going to tie a lot of players into your team. But for the tokens, guys, I think this is a bad one. And then we step up to Ian Wright. So this is 16, so one more. And haven't had much of a look at his card. Let's have a look now. So obviously he's very quick. He's not super fast. Because his dribbling isn't amazing, I think this card won't feel as quick as 89 pace either. Now, obviously, he has good finishing, 92 finishing with 88 composure. He's got good stamina. That's actually something to consider. That's good. Medium work rates. It would be a lot better if he had a high, medium, or a high low would be perfect. He's 5'9". That's okay. Usually that means they have higher agility or balance, but he doesn't. And I think, yeah, I mean, it's a good card, but in this whole list of icons, it's definitely one to stay away with. So Rivaldo and Ian Wright, I just don't think are worth the amount of tokens. I would actually rather go for a player on this page than a player on this page so far. But obviously Rio Ferdinand, very solid centre back, and this is the baby one, which means he's got a lot of pace, 84 pace, but he's got 84 defending, 83 physical stats. And I think a lot of people will go for this Ferdinand, because obviously he's going to be able to just tie in a lot of teams. A lot of people might struggle with building a hybrid and going with a goalkeeper and centre back to link, whereas Ferdinand is going to go right in the middle there and give everyone chemistry. And he is a great player, although I feel like he's kind of like the Joe Gomez of icon centre backs, in the sense that he is super fast, he is great, but at the same time, there will be times where he might be standing still and not be picking up the right runs, because his defensive awareness won't be as good as someone like a Nesta. But at the same time, his pace kind of makes up for that. So yeah, I think if you're looking at this page, definitely Ferdinand would be the best one. And then a Rui Costa, again, a player that I used last year, and it was actually fantastic. And I think his card, if you look at it, the 86 pace will feel quicker, because, like, for example, I think a Rui Costa will feel quicker than an Ian Wright, but it's simply because of the dribbling. And the 88 dribbling will make him feel better at turning and changing directions, of course. He's got good stamina, 88 stamina. He can play in a cam position very well, which is his natural position, obviously. Now, what would I do out of going for a Costa for 17 or a Ferdinand for 16? I'd probably go for a Ferdinand, just simply because I know, obviously, centre-back wise, we've got Ramos, we've got Van Dijk as the best players in the game, like centre-back wise, but they're not like $1 million+ coins. Whereas when it comes to forwards and attackers, you can go for amazing cams and strikers that you can find, you can get chemistry on them, like, you know, like Neymar, Mbappe, for example. We can get Ronaldo and Messi in here with little hybrids. So like, we have a higher ceiling for better attackers than we do for defenders. So I feel like a Rio Ferdinand would be better on this page. This is getting to the point where you've got to be really picky, and you've got to really break down what you want from this. So we've got Javier Zanetti, and this card is potentially the best card. It might be controversial because it's only the right back position, but I think he will be the best right back all year, until maybe a team of the year or a team of the season comes and trumps him. But even at that stage, I mean, how much better is a slightly better right back going to make your team? And I think this, as I said, like, it will be good to pick an icon straight away that will stay in your team, and you won't need to change, and you can tie in with other players. The thing is, right back position, it would be better if it was like a more central position, so that you can build hybrids easier with that icon being in the team. But saying that, like, you know, again, I was mentioning before with another player, if you change a formation and you need to go really attack and go to a 3-5-2, he can easily step up to a CDM position or a right mid position. Like, he's got everything apart from shooting. So 92 stamina, 93 interceptions, 88 defensive awareness, 91 reactions, 88 composure, 94 short passing. We all know how important that is. You know, how many times do you lose the ball on FIFA 20 in the defense trying to get into the midfield or running down the midfield, and it's just, you lose the ball and then you concede straight away. So I think this is a top contender for potentially one of the best players. He's also got 4-star weak foot and high work rates, which is a very good work rate for someone in like a left or right mid if you do play 3 at the back, by the way, which I've noticed is becoming a little bit of a new meta in this game. And then we have Hugo Sanchez, a card which, if you look at his card stats, you go, wow, this player does look really good. 90 pace, 88 shooting, 88 dribbling, 78 passing, and then we go to his in-game stats and 58 composure. 58 composure. What is that for a composure? How can an icon have such little composure? I would have thought 70 composure is bad on an icon, but 58 could potentially ruin this card. I've not used it, so I don't know, but I think, you know, just going from my experience with FIFA, a card of that composure is going to let you down every now and again. 75 stamina is not great, but he does have high medium work. If he was high low, then it wouldn't be too bad, but now he will be getting back on defense a little bit. You might have to put him on conservative interceptions to keep his stamina up. His dribbling is really good. It's kind of like an 88 to 90 range, so 88 agility, 88 balance, 91 dribbling. His finishing is fantastic, but combined with the composure, will it be good? And I think composure, I think it does affect passing as well. So even though his passing's 78, it might feel worse because he doesn't have the composure to make that pass under a bit of pressure. So I think you've got to stay away from this card, especially as if you're getting this card, you're pretty much, this will be your best card. So yeah, personally I'd stay away from Sanchez. Then we have a base icon pack, and I think this is just a completely random one. So you're given 18 icon swaps here, and you're going to get given a base. So potentially you could get a Ronaldo, an R9 Ronaldo, you can get a Pele, you can get Hullet, but realistically what you're going to get, you're probably going to get a Schmeichel. So I'd stay away from this. Just pick what player you'd like to have in your team, unless you're feeling a bit fruity. You might just feel a bit fruity on the day and think, what the hell? Let's just put all my hard work into a base icon pack. Oh, no, honestly, guys, don't go for that. But Butragueno, and I think, yeah, apart from Zanetti, this is another contender for potentially the best player out of all these icon swaps. And the reasoning behind it is that I think he'll just make a deadly cam on the game. If you compare him to the likes of a Messi, how he's going to feel on the ball, he's only 5'6". He has 88 agility, 87 balance, and 89 dribbling. His shooting stats are phenomenal. His pace is amazing. His stamina's not the best, but it's also not in the 70s, which is good if you have him in the cam position and not overworking him too much, not making him come back on defense. Then that should be okay, at least for the next 3 months or so. I think it's going to help you win a lot more games. But yeah, 91 finishing, 90 attacking position. I really like this card. The thing about him that I don't like is the 3-star skill moves. If it was 4-star skill moves, I think that would completely sell me, and I would definitely be going for Butragueno, but I still haven't made my mind up if I want to go for a Zanetti, Butragueno, or potentially someone on this page. So we've got Steven Gerrard next, 89 rated Steven Gerrard, and his card's really good, especially looking at the card stats, but something that I don't think he'd be able to fit into my team, because if I'm playing someone in a defensive position, I want them to be more geared towards defensive stats, where he's more of like a box-to-box player, kind of like how Pirlo is, except he's actually better at defending than Pirlo and not quite as good at attacking in terms of dribbling and passing and stuff like that. But in terms of shooting, he's way up there. Now if we go to the stamina, obviously fantastic, 87 stamina. Shooting stats are great, more geared towards long shots rather than finishing. His dribbling is where it lets him down. I think 75 agility, 71 balance, and 83 dribbling. It's not going to be the worst, and I think if you put something like an engine on this player, he would actually feel really good. If you see the boost there, it's going to go on to his +10, I think, on his balance, and he's going to get a little bit more pace upgrade there. So yeah, I think an engine on him would go down a treat. Even if you're going to play him CDM, he might be able to. I've seen people play like Ndombele at CDM and do a fine job. I think he's got like 60 or 70 defense, like somewhere in that range. So, but in terms of how many tokens, I think I would rather go down the safe option of going for a Butragueno or a Zanetti. But of course, if you're a Gerrard or a Liverpool fan, then you're going to pick Gerrard. So I wouldn't be surprised if you do that. Then we've got George Hagi, 20 icon swaps. I think this is the best player out of the last players that we have, out of the Michael Owen and Drogba. We'll get to it. Why? I just think as a card, like as a cam here, he is fairly complete. The bit that lets me down the most is his stamina. I think I'd like to see, if he was in the mid 80s, like his card would be again, like for me, just a no-brainer. But all of these cards have weaknesses, which is interesting. That's good. But I don't want a card just outshine all the others, because then everyone's going to have their own opinions of which card they want to put in their team. But yeah, as a cam, he would be fantastic, and he can only play cam. He's not going to be able to really play on the wing. He's not going to be able to play striker. He is just a cam. Even centre mid, he's not going to do very well, because the defending stats, I think you've got to have at least minimum 60. I was going to say 55, but I think 60 defending stats for a centre mid position. So he will be only able to play that one position. His shooting stats, yeah, especially long range shooting, 93 shot power, 92 long shots, 91 penalties, 89 composure, 92 ball control, 90 dribbling. Like, this card's going to feel fantastic on the ball, and of course he has the 4-star skills, 4-star weak foot, low defensive work rate. So if you have a formation where you need people working hard in all of the positions, he's not going to do very well for you. But it is an interesting one. I know people that absolutely love him, especially when I seem to get him a lot in the draft, so people have a lot of experience with him, and maybe that might swing them more towards him. But the next one is Michael Owen, 91 rated overall, 90 pace, 88 dribbling, 89 shooting. I always find it weird when someone has an overall rating higher than any of the stats on their card. It always seems to me that they've just had an extreme inflation of what their overall rating should be. But in terms of finishing, attacking, positioning and finishing, he is way up there, and he's just going to be in the right place at the right time. And his composure, it doesn't line up with his finishing, but because he has such high finishing, it's going to be amazing still. 91 reactions as well, so he's going to be so annoying for deflections and all of that stuff that we keep seeing in FIFA 20. Heading accuracy, not really important, because you're not going to be heading with him unless of course they patch this game. But other than that, like, again, it's the 3-star skills that lets me down here. 5'8" as well. I mean, not so important this year being a smaller player, but for the amount of tokens that you're going to put into these players, Michael Owen is not the one I'd go for. On this page so far, I'd either go for a Gerrard or a Hadji. And then finally, Drogba, a player that we was all very hyped to use this year, but seeing what the new meta is, I don't think this card's going to be the one for you. Although, look at those shooting stats. 90 shooting overall, 93 finishing, 91 shot power. I think he's still going to be deadly, and I think that lack of agility and balance is a killer, isn't it? I think it's one of those things where I think if you pick this player, you'll have games where you say, I'm so glad I picked Drogba. Like, he'll just put everything away for you. You won't feel his bad balance, and he'll just do everything you want. He's even got high stamina as well, so you can play the whole game and he'll feel fresh, and he'll just feel really good. His strength and aggression's there. Like, so when he wins the ball, he will win the ball cleanly. It's not like he's just slowly barging you off. Like, he will take that ball from you. But yeah, as I said, it's just the dribbling. I don't think it's good enough. He's got 4-star skills, 4-star weak foot, high work rates. So I don't know if you're going to really want a high defensive work rate on a striker. But as I said, he does have high stamina, so he should be able to deal with a little bit of running back. But again, you might want to put him on conservative interceptions just to make sure he doesn't tire himself out. And that is all of the Icon Swaps cards. And for me, I think the route that I would go down, if you think 23 Icon Swaps tokens for Drogba, I think that's just too much, especially as you wouldn't be able to get any of the others. If you went for Steven Gerrard, you can't get anyone else, because even a Guardiola or a Schmeichel are out of the equation. So again, I wouldn't be going for him. It's got to be between either Zanetti or Buccigreno at this stage, unless obviously there's a patch that changes how the gameplay is. If I go for a Zanetti, I will be able to get Schmeichel as well if I complete all of the other challenges bar one. So that's interesting to think about, but I don't think I'm going to be able to complete them all. So Zanetti will take up a lot of time to get him. And then we've got Ferdinand on the other hand. So he's only one less than Zanetti. It's a real tough decision, guys. I think I'm going to be able to complete at least like 7 or 8 out of these challenges in the first kind of week or two. I'll see where I am, but it's probably going to be Ferdinand, Zanetti or Buccigreno, but I have a feeling I'm going to steer more towards Zanetti, because I think he's going to be an end game player, whereas Buccigreno and Ferdinand are players that I will replace at some point, because, you know, we've got informs, we've got all these different types of cards, whereas I just can't see another right back being as good as or better than Zanetti. But I want to express the main thing of this is it's all free. Like, I would be happy getting a Guardiola for free. Honestly, I think just the fact that all of these cards are free is amazing. But yeah, guys, that's going to be it from me. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video. I've tried to make it as informative, as possible. Obviously it's an opinionated video, but yeah, I'm just intrigued to know which players you're going to go for, because everyone's got such mixed opinions. Like sometimes I say a player just isn't even an option for me and they're like, no, that's the player I'm going to go for. So it'd be interesting to know which ones you're going for. If you've enjoyed the video, drop a like, make sure you subscribe, and I will try to do some videos helping you guys how to complete the objectives as quickly as possible and as easily as possible. But anyway, I've been talking long enough. I will see you later. Bye bye.